and some even choosing now to self-deport back to their home countries. I spoke with immigration attorney Rolando Vasquez, who tells me that some of the immigrants that he represents that entered under the Biden administration are now choosing to return home, fearing deportation under the incoming administration.
Just as recent as yesterday, they notified me that they're going to depart the country voluntarily, in understanding that the Trump administration is going to carry through on their promises.
There you go. I mean, Congressman Scott Desjarlais, who I believe is on his way into Washington, D.C. Not real surprising. You and I, Congressman, have always said that one of the big things that we need to do as a nation, of course, is pull up that welcome mat that Joe Biden put out. Donald Trump, of course, making illegal aliens in this country feeling very uncomfortable. And now, according to News Nation, a bunch of folks are actually deporting voluntarily.
Yeah, and I hope that's happening, and that's good news. Definitely a new sheriff in town, and there's going to be a different set of rules. So I don't know how many are actually self-deporting, because a lot of these people paid, if you're coming from China or other places, up to $40,000 just to get a family member in. So they spent a lot of money to get here. I still worry about the ones that didn't self-report at the border and were the gotaways, because they're in the country and they're going to be the ones that we're after first and want to round up and get rid of. So anybody that volunteers to go, that's great. That makes the job easier. The other part of the job is going to be really hard, but it needs to be done.
Congressman Scott Desjarlais joining us. Breaking news now, not really surprising, but apparently the president has pardoned Anthony Fauci and the January 6th committee. I've really been expecting this, of course, but do you have any reaction to that before we talk a little bit about today?
Well, I'm hearing it first from you, and it's not really a shock, but the guys shouldn't need a pardon if they didn't do anything wrong. And I think that just kind of verifies what we've thought all along, is that we were misled, we were lied to. And so, that they don't have to go through trials and hearings now to prove what they did to the American people. So I think that's a shame. I'd love to have seen them held accountable.
And apparently, of course, like the Biden administration at large, they're not going to be held accountable. But we'll cover that here as the morning continues to unfold. You're heading into Washington, D.C. right now. Give me the mood of Republicans in the House of Representatives.
Okay, I'm staying in Arlington. I have a bunch of family up here. You all came to see the inauguration, and I see you guys are twice as cold as we are. It's 20 here, and it's 10 there, from if I heard you correctly. So,
yeah.
A lot of folks are up here that were wanting to see the president stand out on the mall, bear the cold temperatures just like everybody did at the Buffalo Bills game last night. And if you have any savvy at all on cold weather, you know how to dress for it. So, a lot of people, I think, are disappointed who made the trip, probably 750,000 to 1 million people. But I would say this, we were at some events last night. We had a Tennessee delegation event with the senators and our Republican representatives, and the room was so packed. It wasn't cold in there. I tell you, it felt like it was 100 degrees, and there's several thousand people, and everybody was in good spirits. They're very excited. They're very optimistic about Trump taking over. They think that he's been given a mandate. They, feel like we've got the House, Senate, and White House, and we need to get a lot done, and I think we will. The first 100 days is going to be key. The first year is going to be key. Then everyone's going to be looking at the midterm. So a lot of work to do, a lot of heavy lifting, and we've got to stay together as a team. And I think the bar has been set so low, there's nowhere to go but up. But, the mood is everybody feels good that the country's been given a second chance. And I was impressed by the enthusiasm despite the inauguration being kind of jumbled up.
Are you worried about violence? I mean, I've seen everything online that people are saying that Trump supporters and Antifa, the Proud Boys, and just all kinds of predicted violence, and some are saying that is why it was moved indoors. Do you have a thought on that? What have you heard, if anything?
Well, I'm hearing the same rumors that there was security risk. I have no hard proof of that. It does seem like I don't think this is as cold as when Reagan moved in at 85. So again, it's hard for me to blame it completely on the cold. So if there was a security threat, then obviously it's important to keep the president safe. It's awful cold weather to be out protesting. The protesters are going to earn their pay because most of them up here are paid protesters. So if they want to stand out in 10-degree wind chills and shout and yell, that's fine. As far as violence, well, it's hard to say. We always worry about threats. The president's been had 2 assassination attempts already. I don't know there's going to be a clash of protesters today. There could be. They said there's going to be a lot of protesters around. We'll watch and see. I'll be in the rotunda and watching that ceremony, and who knows what all is going to be going on outside. But a lot of people are gathering in different places, even their hotels. They're having watch parties for the inauguration, and so it's a cold day to protest.
Yeah, well, they can have fun out there if they want. Here's part of what my curiosity is. Donald Trump is going to sign 200 or so executive actions, executive orders, and so forth. There's a lot of work that the House of Representatives already has to do. How does that impact what your job is in the House of Representatives? I know that there's going to be a lot of executive orders, a lot of executive actions. There's going to be legal challenges. Does this complicate things? Does it make it easier? How does this impact the Republicans in the House?
Well, our job is to stick together in the House, and we have such a slim majority. We're going to be down to 219 or 218 when Elise Stefanik gets confirmed and Michael Waltz takes over as NSA, and they got Matt Gaetz that needs to be replaced. So we've got 3 Republicans that are going to be out. One's already out, and 2 will be out shortly. Waltz doesn't have to be confirmed, so I guess he'll probably take over right away. I think all the elections are set for April. The 2 in Florida and the 1 in New York, so we'll have our full complement of people, so we got to keep that in mind on legislation that's must pass, that's going to probably be partisan and Republican only, so some of the bigger legislation may not happen till April. We got to be able to pull a few moderate Democrats to our side on some of these. We may lose a couple of Republicans, but the first big task, we got the CR that ends in March 14th, so that's got to be dealt with right away. And then we got our first reconciliation package, and that's a really important one, at least in my area of defense. We had quite a shortfall from last year's NDAA budget due to the CR going to March. So we're hoping to get $100 billion for defense. I don't know if you heard, I'm going to be chairing the subcommittee on strategic forces, which deals with our nuclear modernization, our missile defense, space, all that. There's already several bases, Redstone, Arnold Air Force Base there, that are going to have shortfalls if we don't get that reconciliation package done. So that's going to be top of mind. We're going to mark that up in March and hopefully get it passed in April. And we'll take care of our defense needs, which, is my number one priority here in Congress this year is, rebuilding our recruitment and getting our modernization in place to keep up with China and other threats. Yeah,
and that was actually my next question. You do have this new role, chairman of the House Armed Services Strategic Forces Subcommittee. So, that sounds like it entails a lot. And you just threw down a lot of the goals. Number one, what are you looking to accomplish over the next couple of years in relation to being the head of that subcommittee? You just named a couple. How difficult is it going to be to hit those goals?
I think they're doable. We got to force the acquisition process to speed up. We've given Pentagon authority and money to speed up the process. Our bureaucracy in this country drags us down, slows us down. China doesn't have to do that. So their nuclear modernization and proliferation, if you will, is moving along at a steady pace. We've got to replace the Minuteman III missiles and with the Sentinel missiles, so that'll be a big part of it. One project that's near and dear to me is it's called the Slickaman. It's a submarine-launched cruise missile that can be nuclear. I want it to be low-yield nuclear capable to counter Putin's threats of using low-yield. We got, of course, missile defense of the homeland. Trump wants kind of an iron dome of the country. It's a big country to put an iron dome over, but certain areas certainly could be. Moscow is very well protected, and so there's areas that we need to protect. Space is the new frontier in terms of war fighting, and China is sending up more and more satellites. So we'll be spending a lot of time protecting and securing space, working with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the private companies, Blue Origin, United Launch Alliance, SpaceX. We need to see how we can integrate that with NASA and do a better job with public-private partnerships. All the Oak Ridge and Pantex and Los Alamos need to be upgraded. So I'm going to be focusing highly on those and nuclear modernization. So it's going to be a very, very busy year, but it should be interesting work, and we're right in the hotbed with Redstone Arsenal and Oak Ridge and Arnold Air Force Base, so it's a good spot to be, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
All right, real quick, you voted to ban TikTok. The president, as president-elect, has clearly had a change of heart regarding TikTok. He wanted to ban it. Now he's all for it, based on a number of different things, including him winning this election with the support of the younger voters. Where do you stand this morning on the president and his banning of TikTok? Do you see this as going to be a big fight amongst the Republican Party and the president?
I don't think so. I think the security with China harvesting our data was the big issue when we were talking about this a year ago. There was a lot of evidence that they were hacking your kids' data and getting into our database, and so I think Trump's main push, and I think he's already been talking about this, is that we need to own at least half of TikTok. We need to have our server in the United States, so we're the ones screening material, not the Chinese. And he seems to like the platform. I personally don't use it, but we want to make sure that our data is safe as it can be. It's a dangerous world in the cyberspace, and so we gotta protect our kids, protect our data, and I think his plan is to make it more Americanized, where we have as much control and can have more oversight.
We've got 45 seconds. Talk about the dynamic. Current House Speaker Mike Johnson, as President Trump is coming in, the dynamic between Mike Johnson and the Speaker of the House when Trump came in first time around, Paul Ryan.
Yeah, no, I think that there's going to be a better working relationship between those two. Paul Ryan really marched to the beat of his own drum, and as we know, Trump certainly does. But I think all of us, like even me, we all had big wins in our elections, and our district is supporting us, but they also supported Trump equally. So I look at it as a partnership, and I need to support Trump's agenda, and I think most House Republicans feel that way. The few, the handful of people who always seem to resist and can never get to yes, we're going to have to do a lot of work, teamwork, and team building, and I think Trump's going to be really helpful on that. But I think he and Mike Johnson are more in line than Trump and Paul Ryan were. So I'm very optimistic that we have a great opportunity here. This won't be easy. There's going to be some heavy lifting, but everyone that I've talked to up here is excited. We're excited. And, I think we've been given a mandate. We're not going to get everything done, but I hope we get a lot done.
All right, Congressman, always appreciate it. I know you're busy. Thank you very much. It is 6:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And we have the news coming up at 7. Jay Harper, what's up? Jay Harper. And
yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, Jay. This is where we do every day.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. I was looking at a news update on all these pardons.
Yes.
Anyway, President-elect Trump, he is planning to take executive action immediately after taking office today. And President Biden, another flurry of pardons as he heads out the White House door. We'll have all that for you at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.